Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel, and in this video I'm going to be wrapping my interior trim of my Audi S5. So if you do follow the channel, you may remember that I installed the heated seats in the front and the rear of this car, and when I bought these they were supplied with new door cards, and the door cards had this piano black trim on all the door cards, which I thought way better than the brushed aluminium trim that I already had. So that was great, so I've installed all those. So I'm left with this brushed aluminium trim here. So there's a part there, there's a part there, and there's a piece that goes around the centre console here. That one's going to be the hardest one to get off, but I intend to pop these off. I'm going to show you how to get these off, and then I'm going to try and wrap them with some gloss black wrap that I've got left from the roofs that I've done on this car and the Mustang, and hopefully that will then match the door trims that I've got, because that door trim has got this little sort of chrome edge around here. Well, you've also got this edge around the dashboard trims as well, so I think that's going to end up looking pretty good when it's done. But before all of that, don't forget you can purchase these t-shirts. So go ahead, buy a t-shirt. I'm selling t-shirts, I'm selling mugs, I'm selling hoodies. Go check it out in the link below and go buy some. Everyone that you buy, 10% of the profit from these goes to charity. And also, if you do buy these, you are supporting the channel, which is helping me to bring you better videos. So we need to remove these trims, and to remove these trims we're going to need, yes, you've guessed it, the panel removal tools. If you haven't got a set of these tools yet, what are you waiting for? I'll stick a link down below where you can go get a set of these. These are absolutely brilliant and absolutely necessary to do any jobs like this. Go get yourself some. The first stage is we need to get this off. Now this is going to have a little sort of pin clip in here and then lots of clips all the way around. So again, using your panel removal tools, let's just try and, there we go. Actually came up easier than I thought it would. Now how are we going to get, oh there we go. Whoa, hey, well that came off absolutely dead easy. Now on my, obviously I've got this hazard warning light switch, so we need to remove that switch. There we go. Just a bit stiff that, so it does come out. So we're going to have to trim. We're going to have to trim all this, and then we're going to have to cut with a knife. But at least we can get the knife in there and cut around that nicely. So that shouldn't be too hard to trim, to be honest. So now for this piece again, so get your trim removal tool under the edge there and pop it up. There we go. Now just gently, because you don't want to crack any of these thin bits here. So that's coming up nicely. This chrome trim around the vent will stay with the vent. It doesn't come off with this. If you look, it's separate pieces. So you can leave that in place. It may fall off, but that's fine. It's fall off. So you just need to pop that back in place, and that's it. That's just going to sit there. That is held in place with this part of the trim anyway, so that's no problem. When we come to put it back together, we'll probably place this inside the trim, because then it'll make it easier to get it all back together. But they came up way easier than expected, but it's just knowing. And if you look on this part here, if you look there, there's that little popper. So that is the bit you need to get out first. So you really need to get the inner bit, see it go, that popper goes in there. So you need to get that bit out first before you attempt to get the rest of it off. And again, the centre bit's got the big popper just there as well, so you need to pop that out before you get the rest out. Once you get those out, then they came off quite easy, as you saw. All right, let's get them in the garage and let's start the wrapping. So here we are, ready to wrap, and as usual we're going to need a few extra bits and bobs. So I'm going to need obviously a bit of vinyl that they're offcuts from the black that I've got left, isopropyl alcohol to actually clean the parts with, and then a tucking tool, a really sharp knife and some blades, squeegee to help push it down, a cloth to clean it with, and also don't forget the heat gun to finish it all off at the end and get around those tight corners. So now we've got everything, let's begin wrapping. The first step is we need to give the parts a good clean and then wipe down with some isopropyl alcohol to take away any grease or anything that is on the surface. Now let me just show you what I've noticed on here. There's a little bit of cushioning around some of the edges. So there's some there and there's some along here. So that's a little bit of padding. I think that's to probably stop any rattling. This has also got some on as well. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to remove that, and then I can wrap my van around and probably place it back on. So getting all this black off was a bit of a pain. It just still crumbled, so that ain't going back on. But anyway, let's see how it goes. I'll just wrap these, and then when I come to fit them, if I feel it needs a bit of cushion in there, then we can always just add a bit of tape or something. Right, let's get on wrapping this piece. And that's the first piece done, and I've got to say this has gone very, very well. I once tried this ages ago with some cheap carbon fibre stuff I bought, and it was awful. This is Avery Dennison, so let me see the name there. So it's Avery Dennison, and this stuff is pretty good quality. So yeah, that's fantastic. So now let's go ahead, and this one is going to be a little bit harder, but let's get this one done. So final cut I've got to do now is just to trim all this round here to leave that little bit of chrome that was there. So I've gone round with me tucking tool and I've tucked it in as best I can into that little ledge there. Now I've got to run my knife around that ledge, and I've got to do it quite precise to make that look neat when it's done. Look at that! Wow, I'll tell you what, I am well pleased with them. They have turned out brilliantly. So I'm well happy with that. So let's go fit these back to the car. Okay, so let's start with this piece. And now this piece, now if you remember this piece that fell out, fits in there, and it looks like it should kind of clip in. So let's just ease that nicely in. There we go. That's those fitted back in, so they're looking good. So now we need to get this centre console out, which is a pain. And yeah, well, let's just do it. Now I've had this out when I did the heated seats. I had to get the wiring over the back of it or underneath it. So it's not too bad. I know there's a couple of bolts under there. There's a couple of bolts under here, and there's some at the back. So I've seen some people on YouTube, some videos where they've actually wrapped this trim with the centre console in place. I don't think that's advisable, to be honest. It's so tight along these edges, you're not going to get much of a tuck in there. So if you watch this video and see how long it's going to take to get this console out, then it's not that long, to be honest. I'm going to set a timer up and we'll see how long it actually takes me. So it's two bolts here that are holding the ashtray in. You need to remove those. That then reveals a bolt there and a bolt at that side, which you need to remove. Next is one bolt there and one bolt there. So once those are done, next we need to go into the back of the car and do the stuff at the rear. First we've got to remove this vent, and behind this vent is a nut that is holding on this main plastic trim. So once we get the vent out, the nut out, we can remove this plastic trim, and then there's two more bolts that are holding the centre console on inside there. So the actual bolt we're looking at is that there. So to get to that you need to lift up the armrest, and then you get full access to that, and that's holding on this bit of plastic. So now we should just be able to pull on this, and it should unclip from around here. It's very daunting, but just keep pulling at it and it will unclip and it will come out. That now reveals two bolts, one there and one there, that we need to remove. Use the last two nuts, which is there and there. So the centre console should now be ready to be removed. Okay, so now I just took the armrest off. It was just 2 Torx heads there, because last time I took this centre console off I didn't have the seats in, and I could widen the edges and get it around this, but I've actually damaged the armrest a little bit trying to get it off, so I thought I'll take that off. That's going to make life a lot easier. So now let's remove the centre console. Oh God, yeah, so I was struggling getting that up there because I've got telephone prep on mine, so I've got the little handset thing in there, see that? So that means I had a few wires at the back here which needed undoing. They were stopping it coming up. So let's stop the timer and see where we got to. And stop. So there we go, 35 minutes. Now don't forget I'm having to set up my lights and my camera when I'm moving from the front to the back to the front to the back. So that added probably an extra 5 minutes. So within 30 minutes you should be able to get this out, maybe even quicker if you know what you're doing. Right, let's get this in the garage and then we can separate the trim and then we can wrap it. Get the trim off the centre console. Now these are fixed on with Torx. See that torque there? There's 1, 2 and obviously 2 at the other side. So I need to get my Torx driver and we'll get those bits unscrewed. Oh, good job I checked. There's actually 8 Torx screws holding this on. So there's, if you look, there's 1 at the front, there's 1 just at the curve there, there's 1 at the back there, and the same on the other side, and then underneath there's 2 more holding the top part on. So make sure you get all 8 before you try to remove that piece of trim. Right, now we've got it off, now we can wrap it. So as with the other pieces, first job is to give it a clean, then use some isopropyl alcohol to get rid of any other grease or anything that's on there. So now we need to cut out a piece of vinyl that's big enough to cover this, so it's going to have to be a big square piece. It can't be like a long thin piece because you'll never get it to bend around those edges. So it's going to be like a big square piece that needs to go find. Let me go find that. So we've got a piece plenty big enough here. So let's start peeling this off and getting it stuck on. So I'm just going to do a little bit of post heat just to get any bubbles out and just to make sure the edges are nice and flat. So that's it, post heated, and well, all I can say is I'm well happy with this. It has gone very, very, very well. So let's get it back on the centre console and back in the car. So my battery ran out just before I completed it, but I did manage to get this all completed, and well, what can I say? It looks absolutely fantastic. Check this out.
Something feels out of place, but you have no town. It's like we want the same things, but the lines we've drawn are too parallel. I can't sleep when you're not talking to me. Got me suffering in silence, can't breathe when you're not here.
So yes, I did it. I managed to wrap that. First time I've wrapped interior parts, and I think it went quite well. I'm quite happy with those results. Drop a comment down below. Did I do anything wrong? Would you have done it differently? Do you like the colour? Would you have used something different? Anything you like, just drop me a comment. Let me know that you're watching and you're interested. Stay tuned to the channel because I've got awesome video coming up on the Mustang. I've got a great mod that I'm going to be doing on that one very soon. And also, I've got an even awesomer, is that a word? Awesomer video on the Audi as well. So that's it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you might like this one.